Out. The 24-25 season is in the books, but there's no rest for our senior insider, Shams Charania. Breaking NBA news late into last night. Now, two-time NBA champ Jrue Holiday is headed to Portland. Shams, what more can you tell us about the deal?
Chene, for the Portland Trailblazers, this is an aggressive swing to build on what was a top 5 transition defense in the second half of this past season. And for the Celtics, this is the start of a very busy offseason. It's about getting out of the second apron and getting breathing room with the cap, given that Tatum could miss a significant part of next season. And so getting significant luxury tax savings has been a focal point. And right now, the Celtics are engaged in trade talks around several key players on their roster. I'm told the Celtics are discussing Kristaps Porzingis trades specifically with several interested teams in both conferences. Anthony Simons, they just acquired him from Portland as well, along with 2 second-round picks. He could also get interest on the open market. Now, listen, there are 2 big players as well in Jaylen Brown and Derek White. They're going to get serious interest and offers on both of them as well. And the Celtics, I'm told, prefer not to trade Derek White and Jaylen Brown. But depending on how those offers get, could they consider a deal? That's what a lot of team executives are waiting to see.
Very interesting. You said you expect the Celtics to be pretty active. What team should we be paying attention to before tomorrow's draft?
Well, in the lottery, I think Washington and New Orleans I would look at as movers and shakers in this. You have teams like Utah, Philadelphia as well. But there are other teams from a roster perspective. Atlanta has a massive $25.3 million trade player exception. I'm told they're really likely to use that exception to either get a game-changing player or pick up players with salaries and get assets with that as well. And Utah has some role players that could be of interest around the league. John Collins, Colin Sexton, as well as Jordan Clarkson. And John Collins is a big man who you see whenever Kristaps Porzingis gets traded, John Collins could be a guy that moves as well.
By this time tomorrow, we'll be very close to knowing what those teams will be doing. Thank you so much for stopping by, Shams. Team No Sleep over there, we got you. Now that the Blazers have Jrue Holiday in the fold, they add him to a team that was playing some really good hoops down the stretch. The Blazers were 25-25 after January 1 and were 6th in defense during that stretch. And if you think about it, they have a lot of young stars that they're trying to build around. And here's the squad, the brain trust of Brian Windhorst, Bobby Marks, Kendrick Perkins, NBA champion. This is our first show in the new Hudson Studios. It's pretty nice. Bobby told us he had a pork chop, which is nice.
I love
Cafeteria is great.
And the temperature in this 100-degree day is perfect in here tonight.
Yes. Yeah, the temperature is good. But what is the temperature right now in Boston?
I think that was part one. I think we're going to see a series of moves from the Celtics here. The goal is to get under this second apron to give themselves some flexibility to make some trades. Potentially unfreeze their pick in 2033. Jrue Holiday is number 1. We're going to keep an eye on Kristaps Porzingis, $18 million below that threshold. It's going to be a combination of moves if they're going to want to get under there.
Perk, you're a former Celtic. What did you think of losing a guy that was truly a championship piece in Jrue Holiday, but now you're adding a three-point shooter, which sort of fits the way that this team has been the last few years?
Well, I mean, I look at Jrue Holiday like an exotic car, right? Exotic car rental. You rent him out, you know he's going to come give you the flash, whether you want to pick a Urus or a Lambo, and that means you got a championship. They paid him his money, and now he's going off to his next destination. But I love the pickup of Anthony Simon. I'll tell you that much, especially with Jason Tatum being out. Anthony Simon is how old, Bobby? 27?
26.
He's 26. So he's right in the age group with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And he's a guy that could be a second option to Jaylen Brown because he could put the ball in the basket. We know that. You know, I hear a lot of people criticizing, he was one of the worst defensive players in the league last year. Well, that changes when you get to Boston, right? That culture, because they're going to call you out. It's a lot different playing for the Portland Trail Blazers and playing for the Boston Celtics. When you arrive in City of Champions, you know what I'm saying, it's accountability there. You know what I'm saying, the media going to hold you accountable. We watched Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard slide those puppies on the perimeter. He's going to pick up their identity. He's going to be a great fit for the Celtics.
Now, outside of those two teams, Boston and the Blazers, what does this say league-wide, this move?
Man, is there an arms race in the Western Conference right now? You look at what's happened in the East, you've got 3 teams that are dealing with the fallout of Achilles tendon tears, where they're beginning to maybe thinking about taking their teams down a little bit. This is a move in Boston I don't think we see if Jason Tatum is fully healthy. Meanwhile, in the West, the Trailblazers, yeah, they were 25-25, but are they even they're fighting to be a play-in team. And they just took on a 35-year-old with $100 million left on his contract while they're for sale. Their team is for sale. They just took on a $100 million contract and paid 2 second-round picks and a quality young player for the luxury of it. So the Western Conference, you look at what Houston's done, you know that the Lakers are going to try to upgrade their roster in the next few days. You know the Clippers are trying to upgrade their roster. You already have quality teams in a bunch of different places, and you got Utah announcing they're not taking anymore. I mean, you got 14, 15 teams who think that they're going to be able to make the playoffs next year, while in the East, teams are moving up in the odds just because they're not having injured players.
Yeah.
So it's a credible dichotomy between the East and the West right now.
Love that word, dichotomy. Okay, but Bobby, if you think about this, what does this move mean for the league as well? When you think about the moves, this was the news yesterday, but what are the news that we can expect today?
Well, I think we're going to keep an eye on Kyrie Irving in Dallas just because he's got a $43 million player option. It's exercisable by 11:59 p.m. Eastern tonight, so we're a little bit of in a holding pattern. I think it's important regarding Kyrie because does he opt into that contract? Do they sign him? Does he opt out and sign him to a new contract? Because remember, he's not going to be starting the season. They're going to need to get some type of replacement. By taking a little bit less, that opens up some flexibility to do so. So I have my eyes on Kyrie Irving for the rest of the day.
So I got a question. I'm sitting here with Wendy, Shanae, and Bobby, and I really got a legit question. We're watching a lot of teams have new owners. Like, what's going on? We're watching the Portland Trailblazers, they're for sale. Obviously, Mark Cuban just sold the Dallas Mavericks. Jeannie Buss selling the Los Angeles Lakers, the Boston Celtics, the Charlotte Hornets. What the hell is going on? Nobody, I mean, well, something got to be there, right? What's happening?
Business is good.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, there's a brand there's a brand new $77 billion media rights deal that is about to come into effect that's going to guarantee team revenues for the foreseeable future. Also, the sale of the Celtics and the sale of the Lakers has increased everyone's value in the league. So that makes you think about wanting to sell.
Yeah, basically. Go ahead, Bobby.
And the one thing real quick is that certainly when you own a team, the goal is always just to break even. You're not in the business to make money like year to year. It's when you sell. It's when you sell is when you cash out big time.
Yeah, generationally. Yesterday was the trade news. Tomorrow is the NBA draft. But today, can we keep it real, y'all? Let's go back to the champs because the first ever NBA championship parade is rolling through the streets of OKC today. And the Thunder fans, they were truly out in full force to celebrate. You may recognize these buses. You can see how everyone is so excited. You guys remember the images from games. OKC got the job done. And this team has been pretty humble all season. And then Jaylen Williams got on the mic. This is wild.
Hey, they said we was too young. They said Oklahoma should have a team. But guess what? We the champ.
And then we've got some news. Wednesday, July 30th, is officially Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Day. The mayor, David Holtz, announced SGA, who actually met there. He was there at every game wearing the T-shirts. He has his own day named after him. Isn't that pretty cool, Perk?
It is cool. I mean, look, they deserve every moment. He deserves all the praise. This is the best part of winning the championship. Damn it, I never could get back to the parade. The parade is when you're able to come out of character in front of your boss and do whatever the hell you want. I missed that.
It's the one day
days.
of grace you get. But I have to ask you, Perk, as someone who has won championships, when do you flip the page? Is it after the parade? Do you think that this team is not yet?
Well, I'm going to say this, and I'm glad we up here and I got Bobby and Wendy here because Sam Presti, right after this parade is over, he got to get to work. But he got some business decisions to make. Usually, when you win a championship, especially with a veteran squad, you bring the entire squad back, right? You try to. That's not the case with this young OKC team.
The Thunder were working yesterday. I heard some draft trade rumors involving the Thunder.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not surprised. Sam Presti, SGA, J-Dub, Chet Holmgren, at one point in their lives, minutes ago, Shams told us to watch out for the Pelicans and the Wizards. We've got some breaking news. The Pelicans are trading C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick his sources tell ESPN. What do we think, guys?
Well, I'm crunching a little numbers right now. Listen, I think for Washington, you get off Jordan Poole and Saddiq Bey had 2 years left on their contract. They take on the expiring contracts of CJ McCollum and certainly Kelly Olynyk. I look at it from the Wizards' perspective. It frees up a ton of playing time for their young players. They potentially could be a player in the summer of 2026 as far as where they go. The goal for Washington is to retain that pick also. That's important.
So last year, the Wizards were one of the worst teams in the history of the NBA through the first two-thirds of the season. They since have wanted to get grown-up veterans in there. They traded for Marcus Smart. They traded for Chris Middleton. Now they trade for CJ McCollum. They're clearly wanting those veterans to mentor their young players and maybe not be the worst team in the league anymore.
No, I'm with you. And I think the underrated part for us, the Pelicans, I know they get Jordan Poole, but Saddiq Bey, that's underrated, right? You watch around the league and we watch these NBA finals, and again, the most important position in the NBA is the wing position. So you get a guy that can shoot, he's hard-nosed, and I believe Troy Weaver had him down
exactly
there in Detroit.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
We haven't seen him in a year because he's coming off that injury.
Right.
So Troy Weaver was in Washington. He took Joe Dumars' top lieutenant role in New Orleans, and immediately we have Washington players coming to New Orleans.
Yeah, interesting. You know, we were warned. NBA draft in active time. Let's go coast to coast, catching up on other top prospects. Dylan Harper, projected number 2 pick in our ESPN mock draft. He actually threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium on Sunday. This has to be an incredible moment for a kid from Jersey. That's really special. Brian, he seems like a lock to go to San Antonio right now. How does he fit alongside D. Fox, Stephon Castle, and, of course, free agent Chris Paul?
There are only 2 locks in this first round of this draft. One is Cooper Flagg going 1, one is Dylan Harper going 2. They didn't even bring anybody else in, Bobby, I don't even think. This is, and you say, well, they've got Castle, they've got De'Aaron Fox. How does another guard fit? They believe that he does fit because I don't think they considered almost anybody else for this pick. We're going to have to watch how it plays out, but they are very high on Dylan Harper. They didn't even consider trading this pick when there was a lot of interest in it.
Oh, very, very interesting. VJ Edgecombe, though, out of Baylor, is projected to go number 3 to the Sixers. That's a steep the pick, Bobby. So should the Philly draft or should they trade the pick?
I would move back. I just look at VJ, and he's a terrific player in this tier 3 of players here. I think if you can move back, but not out of the top 7 and pick up an additional maybe future first, I think I would be looking at something like that.
That's not a bad move. And to your probably favorite player, Perk, Trey Johnson is projected to go 7 in the latest mock draft. Perk, what do people need to know about this kid from Texas, and who does he remind you of?
That he can shoot the hell out of the damn basketball, arguably the best shooter in this draft. When I look at him, his game to me mimics Chris Middleton. He's legit 6'6", could put the ball on the floor enough to be able to create separation to get his shot off. He's excellent moving without the basketball, and he is a killer. He wants to win, ultimate competitor, and he's ready to play now.
There's also been a lot of conversation about Ace Bailey, who has fallen out of the top 3 in the mocks, but is clearly an elite talent. It hasn't been reported that he's visited any NBA teams before the draft. But Bobby, how do you, as a front office member, evaluate under those circumstances?
You evaluate him based on what he did at Rutgers. You know, the individual workouts is not going to show you much as far as going 1-on-0 or 3-on-3. If you think Ace Bailey is the 3rd best player in this draft, you take him. Doesn't matter if you came and visited. You had the medicals already for him.
Best available. Hey, guys, let's look at ESPN's latest mock draft where Baylor's VJ Edgecombe going 3rd to the 76ers with the initial top 3 projected pick, Ace Bailey, dropping to 6th to the Wizards. Now, another name you need to know, Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. R. Mark Spears sat down with him before the draft. Take a listen to why he thinks he's the best.
Told me I would never be able to make it to the next level.
They say success is the best revenge. One of the dollars, I'm proving them wrong. Back when the classic, I know it's been long. But they was missing me while I was gone.
Flag! Are you serious? This is something that I've been dreaming about since I was a little kid. That dream just stuck in my head. I just got to keep working.
We can almost officially say the flag has been secured for Dallas. And if you don't believe me, look here. ESPN Bet gives him a minus 50,000 to 1 chance of going first tomorrow. And our Malika Andrews just sat down with Cooper Flagg for an exclusive conversation about an hour ago. And we are the lucky ones to have the first look.
This is the night before your life is going to change. Have you spent much time sitting in that feeling?
I think a little bit. You know, I was able to go home for a little bit pretty recently, and that kind of helped to let everything sink in. I was just seeing all my old family and friends, so that kind of helped me to kind of sit with it and realize that, you know, everything is really happening right now, and it's going to be crazy.
You and your brother are incredibly close. He's going to be here tomorrow along with your other sibling as well as your parents. What'll it mean to share that moment with them in particular?
It's going to be incredible. This is the moment, you know, some of the moments I've dreamed about my entire life. So, you know, to be able to go through it with them and to have them along for this experience, it's truly surreal, and I don't even know how to put it into words. So I'm just really excited.
I'm a big fan of your mom. You come from a family of hoopers. Your mom is an 1,000-point scorer in high school. I love this quote that she has. She says that your family lives by this quote about being in the gym, and if the gym gets to be a certain size, if you end up being the biggest person in the gym, then what has to happen? What's that quote that she always says?
Yeah, so it's kind of like you said, if you're the biggest person in the gym, you got to find a new gym. So that sort of thing of just, you know, always, you know, trying to find, you know, a place to get better and push yourself and be around people who are going to push you to the highest level.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but you're about to be in just about the biggest gym that you can possibly be in. How do you continue to push yourself knowing that you've reached the highest echelon of that quote your mom is talking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Just being surrounded by people at the highest of the high, you know, all my teammates and everything. You know, this next year will be incredible to, you know, be able to practice and, you know, see different guys and what they do, and I'll be able to learn so much from them. So it'll be an incredible experience for me. And then I think it's a lot of self-motivation and stuff too, of just pushing yourself in the gym and really getting your own work and what you want to get out of it as well.
Usually I ask players who is the person that they're most looking forward to facing, who is the one individual player that they think that this is going to feel like, yeah, I've made it to the NBA. I'm not sure you have that, do you?
I mean, I think I had that kind of like playing with that USA team. I think that was kind of my, you know, like moment of like, wow. Like I walked up into the gym and I was shell-shocked. That was one of the first times I've been in the gym and felt really shell-shocked. But I think, you know, just getting on the court, like, it really did show me that it is just basketball. Like, at the end of the day, you trust your work, your hours, and everything you put into the game, and you just trust that, and you're able to perform. So that was really that moment for me. But as far as someone I'm excited to play, like my brother from Duke, come on. Like, I'm excited to play against him. I think it would just be so surreal. He's a great kid, and I just love him to death, so it'll be really cool to play against him.
When you were shell-shocked walking into the gym, who was it that shocked you?
I mean, who wasn't it? It was the entire roster. I mean, it was Hall of Fame guy after Hall of Fame guy in the future, so it was just crazy. I mean, LeBron, Curry. I remember the first possession I actually checked into the game, I was guarding LeBron, so that was kind of a shell-shock moment as well.
You studied Larry Bird. You would watch DVDs of him, even though I'm not sure they make DVD players anymore. What's the hardest part of Larry's game to emulate, to try to copy?
I think just the general answer would just be his like grit and like the way and how hard he played. I don't think there's ever been somebody that played as hard as him all the time, and you know, just was as good of a teammate as he was. So that's kind of somebody that I tried to emulate my game after, of just playing every possession to 100% and just doing all the little things that it takes to win.
What do you think of the nickname, The Main Event?
I think it's cool. I like that nickname. I don't know if I could see like somebody calling me that to my face though. Like it's a little bit like somebody's like, oh, what's up, Main Event? Like, I don't know, it's like that, but I think like in general, it's kind of a cool nickname.
I think it's a pretty cool nickname. I love how much you rep where you're from. I love that folks say that it's kind of a town that maybe you're driving to on the way to get to somewhere else, and you are so proudly representing for Maine and kind of re-establishing what it is to be a Maine basketball player. I have just one more question for you. We're keeping the goatee?
Game time decision. You know, I'm gonna get a haircut tonight, and then we're gonna figure that out tonight, so we'll see.
I like The Main Event. It's an absolute pleasure for our basketball expert, Jay Billis, to join us now, who has an excellent piece on ESPN.com on the 8 prospects he likes in the draft. Now, Jay, you've covered Cooper Flagg all season long. What will he bring to Dallas, assuming he lands there tomorrow?
Yeah, this is a big assumption. Cooper is the real deal. He's got length, athleticism, and a high skill level, and he plays at a high level at both ends of the floor. He's not just an offensive player that led Duke in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and then was second in blocks. His defense is maybe the lead story about him. He's super athletic. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. He can guard multiple positions. He blocks shots, gets steals. And I think the thing about him, Sinead, that's so impressive is he doesn't go into a game saying, well, I'm going to get 25 in this game. He just makes the right play on that play, and then he stacks those up. And by the end of the game, he may have 25 points and 11 rebounds and 6 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. He's just a baller, and he's ultra competitive. And there are a lot of competitors out there, but I would put him on the upper tier of competitors I've watched over the years, and certainly at that age. I mean, he's just 18 and turned 18 in late December.
His game is definitely ahead of its time. I want to bring in Perk here, who has a question for you, Jay.
Jay, you covered this game, college elite players for decades now. I want to know your thoughts on this whole Ace Bailey situation, how he's been handling this process for us, just, the workouts and things to that nature, not making the workouts.
Yeah, Perk, that's a great question, and I will ignore the fact that you just very nicely called me old. But I think about covering it for decades, millenniums. What I would say about Ace Bailey is I have no problem with him saying no to workouts. And if he doesn't want to go number 3 or number 4, go to those places, I get that. He's given up a lot of money if he decides, that, hey, I'd rather not go number 3 to this play, to Philly. I'd be more comfortable going 6, 7, or 8. Now, he's given up millions of dollars if that's his choice, but that's a choice. And I said this earlier today, Eli Manning didn't want to go where he was about to be drafted. John Elway, the same thing. I mean, if he's got leverage and wants to use it, fine. I don't have a problem with that because I'm not a big fan of NBA workouts, these one-on-one, 3-on-3 things. But one thing I do think that is a mistake, if you schedule a workout, you need to go. Or you need to give advance notice that you're not going to do it. That's just being professional. But you have to, at least I try to keep in mind, he's barely 18 years old. I mean, he's just a little bit older than Cooper Flagg. We're talking about guys that there are a lot of high school players that are older than them right now, and they're about to step into the NBA. So there's a maturity part of it. It's not that he's immature, but that's sort of, doing the adult professional thing of you say you're going to be there, then be there.
And Jay, before you go, we just saw an NBA Finals led by SGA, Tyrese Halliburton, J-Dub, Pascal Siakam, whom all were drafted outside of the top 10. So can you give me a player who is probably lower on the draft boards, but teams might regret passing on tomorrow?
Yeah, like every draft, we're going to look back in 5 years and we do it completely differently. Asa Newell of Georgia, freshman, 6'11" wingspan, he's about 6'9", really bouncy and athletic, big-time offensive rebounder, impacts the game on both ends, can really change ends, and a really good finisher at the rim. I think he was 73% finishing at the rim, so he's got a lot of potential. Played with Cooper Flagg at Montverde in that just ridiculously talented prep school team. But there are other 3-and-D guys out there. Rasheer Fleming of St. Joseph's, Carter Bryant of Arizona, and then kind of the mystery man, Cedric Coward of Washington State. All those guys ridiculously long-armed, multi-positional defenders, and they can all knock down open threes. And you guys know how valuable that is in the league these days. And they've got a lot of potential to really do good things in the NBA.
I love you highlighting Asa Newell. He's actually projected to go 19 to the Brooklyn Nets. And my projections say that you are seasoned, you're young, you're not old, like Perk said.
No,
okay, Jay?
I never said
Jay,
that,
thanks
Jay.
for
Seasoned means old.
Good morning, America. It looks like he's celebrating right. Shirts are optional. And he sat down with our Malika Andrews right after Game 7, winning a championship. And he had something pretty bold to say.
The conversation after someone wins a finals MVP, it always turns to, well, that player can lay claim to being the best player in the world. Are you ready to take that title?
Yeah, for sure. It's another goal of mine to stand at the top of the mountain. The way I have this year has been pretty fun. It's definitely one of the things I want to check off my list.
Can you say you've checked it off?
Sure, why not?
Perk, what's your reaction to SGA saying he's ready to be that dude, best player in the world?
He ain't lying. Look at his resume. Look what he did in these NBA Finals up to this point. Again, we anointed Jokic when he completed the mission. We anointed Giannis when he completed the mission. And you know the thing that's crazy about SGA? Like, it's a slight disrespect in a good way because he don't really respect the OGs around the league. Like, he going at them. Like, he ain't really, like, looking up to a Steph Curry, or he ain't really looking up to a LeBron James. He ain't looking up to those guys. He trying to kill those guys every single time he's on the floor. He said it. My guy is Kobe Bryant. So with that being said, he's there. And then, you know what else? He had this stretch throughout this, like, season when his captions after he would go into your hometown and put in work and talk noise to you. He did it to Steph a few times. That goes to show you where his mindset that he is the best player in the world.
So Perk, you used to say he's the best perimeter player in basketball, but now you're saying he's fully the best player in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Wendy, do you agree?
You know what he did there, which I liked? Malik asked him the question, and he looked over at the trophy. Hell yeah. I mean, you know what? I don't even really care about I don't even really care. When you win the championship, talk your talk. It's too hard. So whether he is or not, say that you are. No one's taking it away from you. Enjoy it. Enjoy this summer. Don't let anybody tell you different.
MVP, world champion. I think that speaks for itself.
All-star,
All-NBA, soon to be pretty wealthy.
Western Conference Finals MVP,
Finals MVP,
led the league in scoring, averaged 30 in the NBA Finals. Say whatever you want, you are winning. Now, for the NBA, though, you have to think about it. The celebration is amazing, but we are now officially in the off season. But before we get there, we actually have someone joining us from the championship celebration. I'm so excited that we get to now welcome in NBA champion Cason Wallace. Thank you so much for joining the show. Can you please try and describe the scene right now in Oklahoma City?
Man, it's a lot of people everywhere, just happy, excited, just celebrating this wonderful victory that we just accomplished.
Which one of your teammates might have had probably the most fun out there today?
I'm going to say we all had an equally amount of fun out there. We all taking it all in and just enjoying the moment.
And you just finished your second NBA season. You've already reached the top of the mountaintop. What is the first step in honestly running it back next year?
Just going into the off season and, first off, just relaxing, taking it all in, but still got to put the work in to get more results. So I know that I got to put the work in. It's not just going to be given to me.
Now, the sights and sounds of your parade were tremendous. We want you to watch what everyone just witnessed. Take a look at this.
This is all right, baby. Okay, see it live. Hey, man. They said we was too young. They said Oklahoma should have a team. But guess what? Moments like this, they don't come and go often. Make sure you guys enjoy this moment with your family, your friends, your loved ones. The kids, drunk off candy, and the adults, drunk off you know what tonight. Y'all have fun tonight. We love you guys. Thank you.
What was your favorite moment from that scene?
Jay Will, for sure. Jay Will, he got up there and, he was feeling himself, and, he was just enjoying the moment. And, I just loved it. We all here.
Tonight, I'm disappointed. When we bring a Texas boy on here, you know what I'm saying? It's a certain type of way you got to address him. Hey, look, Casey, my boy, you one of my favorites. But look, you got to take us inside that locker room and tell us about the sacrificing that y'all had to make and how y'all did it on a day-to-day basis, because we don't see this out of young teams, the way that y'all sacrificing was all in.
Man, I mean, every team goes through their struggles, and, early on, it was injuries for us, and, being able to have that next man up mentality, we had to sacrifice being the man going into the draft and having to, take a step back and learn your role, be able to play your role to the best level. So I feel like once we all clicked on that and we figured out our role and we tried to perfect it, that's what really made it, great going into work every day, because we know we all trying to be the best player that we can be.
Cason, how much did that Denver series prepare you for what you went through in this NBA Finals?
I feel like it prepared us great. everything that we went through in that series happened in the finals. You know, Denver was our first game 7. You know, we went to 7 games in the finals. You know, we knew what it took to finish off the job, and we knew that it was going to be tough winning road games, you know, which Denver prepared us for. But, you know, at the end of the day, it all worked out for us.
Kaysen, I'm not even going to ask you. Don't let him ask you about next year. I'm not even going to ask you any question. I'm just going to say enjoy it and don't worry about anything. That's all I got to say.
I do want to ask you, though, about this amazing NBA Finals. Was there a specific moment? We all know you lost game 1, but after that, it was a tremendous rally by your squad. Is there a specific moment that you guys hold on to that helps you accomplish your greatest dream?
I'd say our togetherness after every loss. I feel like we never, you know, pointed the finger. We never, you know, shied away from each other. We just got tighter after every situation we went through. So I'd say after the game 1 loss and the way that we lost, I feel like that brought us together even stronger.
Well, Kaysen, congratulations, the reigning NBA champs. We loved all the sights and sounds from Oklahoma City. And yeah, don't worry about tomorrow. Still celebrate today. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank y'all for having me.
We appreciate you.
Hi, xin chào tất cả mọi người. Chào mừng mọi người đã trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay mình xin giới thiệu mọi người một sản phẩm được làm từ kẽm nhung. Và ở trên tay mình đây là một cành hoa dùng để làm trang trí. Mình đã tạo hình lên từ những chiếc kẽm nhung. Và bây giờ mọi người cùng với mình bắt đầu thực hiện nhé. Và ở đây nguyên liệu mình chuẩn bị gồm có là kẽm nhung. Và ngoài ra mọi người sẽ chuẩn bị thêm vào đây cho mình một số dụng cụ như kéo và keo nến. Và bây giờ mọi người cùng với mình bắt đầu thực hiện nhé. Và tại đây mình sẽ bắt đầu tạo lên như sau. Tại đây mình sẽ tạo các phần lá và những phần bông hoa nhỏ. Mình sẽ có một sợi đặt kẽm nhung và mình sẽ gập đôi phần sợi kẽm. Và mình sẽ chia phần này ra làm đôi. Và mình sẽ gập đôi phần này lại. Tương tự, tại điểm này mọi người cũng thao tác tương tự như vậy. Tiếp tục, mình cũng sẽ chia đôi phần sợi kẽm tiếp theo. Thao tác tiếp, mình sẽ gọt đôi tiếp phần sợi kẽm trên. Tiếp tục, mình sẽ gọt đôi lại tại điểm này. Và tại phần này cũng thao tác tương tự. Tại đây mình sẽ gập đôi lại phần sợi kẽm đã tạo. Mình sẽ ép 2 phần cạnh. Và mình sẽ quấn tạo vào đây là một nút thắt. Và mình sẽ có một phần đầu cánh như trên. Và tiếp tục mình sẽ bẻ 2 phần cạnh 2 chân. Và mình sẽ tạo vào đây là một nút kết. Thao tác tiếp tại điểm này. Tương tự mình sẽ chia đôi. Mình lại gập đôi tiếp phần sợi kẽm. Và mình lại gập đôi tiếp. Và mình sẽ gập đôi lại, tạo tiếp vào đây là một chiếc lá. Tương tự mình cũng sẽ quấn tạo vào đây là một nút thắt. Mình sẽ đặt chéo hai phần đầu. Tại đây mình sẽ sử dụng phần kẽ màu tím. Mình sẽ cắt chia phần sợi kẽ này ra. Tương tự. Mình lại gấp đôi phần sợi kẽm. Mình sẽ gấp đôi phần sợi kẽm còn lại và mình sẽ tạo tiếp vào đây là một phần cánh. Và mình sẽ gấp hai phần chân hai bên. Thao tác tiếp tại điểm này. Mình sẽ tạo tiếp vào đây là một phần cánh kế tiếp. Tương tự. Mình lại chia đôi tiếp phần đặt kẽm tiếp theo. Thao tác tiếp, mình sẽ tạo tiếp vào đây là một phần cánh kế tiếp. Tiếp tục. Và mình sẽ tạo tiếp vào đây là một điểm kết tiếp theo. Và bây giờ mình sẽ ghép vào tạo thành những bông hoa hoàn chỉnh. Mình sẽ điều chỉnh lại các phần cánh hoa. Và mình sẽ sử dụng keo nến gắn các phần cánh hoa này lại. Và như vậy mình sẽ có một bông hoa hoàn chỉnh như trên. Tương tự. Tại các phần tiếp theo mình cũng thao tác. Và tại điểm này cũng thao tác tương tự. mình sẽ tiến hành tạo hình như sau. Mình sẽ thu nhỏ các phần sợi kết này. Tại điểm kế tiếp, và tại đây mình sẽ sử dụng phần cuộn duy băng để mình sẽ cuộn tạo hình. Mình sẽ tạo đây là một điểm kết, một điểm keo, và mình sẽ gắn cố định tại phần này. Tiếp tục mình sẽ chèn tiếp vào đây một phần. Mọi người cứ xen kẽ như vậy là lượt đến hết. Và mình sẽ kết thúc tại điểm này. Và mình sẽ tạo tiếp vào đây là một điểm keo và tạo đây là một điểm kết trong phần. Tương tự mình sẽ gắn vào đây là một phần bông hoa đã tạo. Mình sẽ tạo vào đây là một điểm keo. Và mình sẽ gắn tại đây. Tương tự mình sẽ gắn vào đây là các phần lá. Tiếp tục mình sẽ tạo tiếp vào đây là phần lá tiếp theo. Mình sẽ gắn xen kẽ lần lượt. Và tương tự tại điểm này. Và mình sẽ gắn tiếp vào đây là một phần lá cuối cùng. Tiếp tục mình sẽ tạo tiếp vào đây là một điểm keo và mình sẽ gắn cố định tại điểm này. Và như vậy mình đã hoàn thành xong một cành hoa dùng để làm trang trí. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem video của mình. Xin chào và hẹn